Hello everyone, thanks very much for joining me. It's Dean the Vaping Biker here, and I think I just said everyone instead of everyone, but never mind. What we're going to do today is have a little bit of a look back on 2015 and see how it's affected us, what it's done to us, what we've got, and what we've got to come up, hopefully, maybe. So I'm not even going to try and tell you it's going to be a short one today. I'm not even going to, because I know it's not. I've got a lot to cover. I've made notes and shit, so that's good. Well done, me. It is. What's the date today? It's Monday, the 28th of December. So Christmas is finally kind of over. Now we've got the whole New Year thing to get on with. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to cover quite a lot this coming week, and so I thought I'd get this one out there first, just to give you guys a rundown of kind of what I've liked, what I've not liked, my experiences over this year. Seeing as the vlogs seem to have been going pretty well recently, I thought I'd just throw this out before I go on a week-long bender of making review videos, because I'm really going to try and punch through a fair few, so I've got a nice clear year in 2016. Now you'll see that I am gangster today. I've got the cardie on. I'm wearing the cardie, because part of me because it's Christmas, part of me because it's in memory of Vaping Shozza, who isn't around anymore on YouTube. He's around. He's not. He's not, but he's around. But yeah, it's I used to like watching his cardies, and I don't think any other reviewers wear cardies. So yeah, I'm doing that, and a little bit because I've got the window open and it's middle of December and a bit nippy. But it was the easiest way to stop having vape everywhere when I'm making this video. I'm wearing a hat as per normal because of that. I mean, can I, if I did that, can I get away with looking like a young person? I'm thinking probably not, to be honest with you. It's been a funny old thing this year, It's been a funny old thing. If you look back at the start of my videos, no hair. Loved it with fuck all hair. In fact, I haven't had hair for years. And even a little tiny goatee. But yeah, this year it seemed like a good idea to give it a go, to try and look more of an adult and less like a big fat baldy cue ball scary grumpy bastard. But I don't know if that's helped. Anyway, let's get into this, shall we? Grab a drink. Cheers to you. Grab a vape. Happy Christmas. And let's get into it, shall we? Ooh, what flavour was that? Oh, I know what it was. There we go. That was Dark Star. So yeah, make yourself comfortable. It's going to be a long one. So it's been a few changes. I'm going to keep looking here because it's where my notes are, and I'm useless. So there have been quite a few changes this year. For me personally, it's been the year where my channel has kind of started working. I began it at the tail end of last year and made a couple of little videos, but it wasn't. I was more dicking around more than anything else, and it was this year where I kind of got enough of a positive feedback to think, well, actually, I might be okay. I might be okay. Let's give it a go. Pardon me. So that's what I did. And it's been tough, it's been expensive, and it's been challenging. But at the same time, earlier this year, and I'm not going to bore you with it now. I may mention it later on. I don't know. But earlier part of this year, I was quite a poorly chap. And it meant that I couldn't work and I couldn't do a lot of things. So having something to focus on in this kind of environment was superb for me. And it appeared that some people kind of enjoyed it and liked it and watched it. And for that, I am eternally thankful, because it gave me something really positive to focus on, which was happening at a not so positive time of life. But yeah, I'm not going to have one of those videos. But hopefully, if you've been with me since the start, or if you've looked back on some of my old videos, you'll see that there's hopefully been some positive changes, rather than the kind of the shit room that I was in before, that just in the house we just piled a load of crap on and kind of it wasn't great. My big old trucker flag that I had in the background with the trucker lady and the nipple, it's changed a little bit since then. And since moving house, I've still got a tiny vapor room that looks considerably larger on camera than it actually does in person. In fact, I guess you're 69. Scott has done a recent video about building his new vape room, and he's saying about how tiny it is. I think I would challenge him on how tiny a vape room can be, because this is tiny. And it doesn't help that I've got a vape shit all over the floor. I would show you, but it would just be embarrassing. But yeah, you know, I've tried hard for you guys, and also because I wanted to do something that was worthwhile content and something that would be enjoyable watching. So hopefully, well, it appears that a lot of people are enjoying it, and so thank you very, very much indeed. I'll probably gush about that lot and you lot later on as well. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing a top 3 or a top 5 or anything along those lines this year. It's not. It's just tough, man. It really is tough. Unless you break everything down to sort of over technical aspects, like, you know, which is the best 3-post dripper and which is the best 4-post and 2-post, and which is the best for flavour and which is the best for clouds and which is the best, and it would just go on forever. So I've tried to minimise that as much as I can whilst it's still being fairly chunky. I'm going to try and remember to put down below, putting sort of timestamps for each section, if I can remember. Now, I don't think I've done any of those points where I kind of go, oh, look at that up there, and forgot to put my picture in recently. So there's a possibility that may happen. Just a possibility though. Now, what am I going to vape on? I think I'm going to vape on this through the majority of the video. I'm checking out the Coolfire 4 by Innikin at the moment, Coolfire 4 Plus. And for some reason, I've gone back to having the old Mini Goblin, or Goblin Mini on the top, with lip gunk, which is super. I've been using this for a few days now. I've been really rather enjoying it. I've forgotten how great this little tank is. But I've tried to go over a number of my kind of the tanks and bits and bobs that I've used throughout the year, just to give you guys an idea of what I'm up to. And I've just realised I've totally not prepared. I cleared the space on my desk so I could put all my mods and shit on there. So I may slice this in a minute. Anyway, let's have a little go. Mods. Do you know what? I've got to do it. I'll be back in a second. And we're back. I knew I'd forgotten something, and I saw in the corner there that I had far too many mods up there to be fanning around with down here. But here we go. Let's get stuck into it, shall we? So, mechs. Let's have a little chat about mechs. These are, as I say, just ones that kind of have stood out to me, rather than being a top 5 or anything like that, because it's just so damn difficult. It's ones that I felt have stood out for me, and ones that I've used a lot of this last 12 months. Now, obviously there's been a lot to choose from. Most I've reviewed. There's been occasions where I haven't reviewed anything, or I've used something that I haven't reviewed. But generally I've shown you guys what I've got. But as you know, I've been buying the majority of my stuff, and quite happily I've been doing so as well. So it means that obviously I can't, you know, get every single new items out on the market. So please, with any of these, please don't sit at the bottom and go, oh yeah, but you forgot the balance, or you forgot the you haven't got a Hexome, you're shit. Well, no, I haven't got those things because I haven't been interested in buying those things. So that's all I've got to say about that. But let's get stuck into it then. Mechs. So, one of my most favourite, and I say these are ones that have been important to me. I'm going to kick off with the Evolver from Darwin Mods. I will try and remember to put links to reviews down underneath this video, but you can see it. It's not hard to find on the YouTube channel. This is stunning. Quite frankly, I think it is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of work. It's a series mod. It's as simple as you like. It's a couple of bits of stainless, sandwiching a bit of stab wood, and it's just lovely. It feels gorgeous. It hits hard, and It's chunky and it's not super light. It's not mega heavy, but it's not super light. It's simple, so it's everything. Well, it's very much like me. it's just something that I've really enjoyed using, and is very much up there for the closest thing that I've got to a high-end mod when it comes to the wood and so on. But it's just machined and made brilliantly. There's no knurls, there's no kind of overhanging lips, there's nothing nasty going on there. So for me, that one has worked just so well, and I've really enjoyed it. After that, I've got this bad boy, the Dual 18650 full mech Squonker from M-Vapes, from Matter M-Vapes. This gave me what I knew squonking was going to be about. For me, I like the idea of squonking so much, and I can't talk. I've wanted to get into squonking for a long time, and I've had a couple of Vapiamo squonkers, and they're very pleasant, and a couple of bits and bobs, and one of those super cheap owl ones, is it? In fact, I know, yeah, I've got it up there. Which kind of, it was all okay, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. I knew that I like the idea of squonking because I like bigger boxes. Okay, so even if it was a single 18650 and a battery, it would be like a G-Box, but bigger boxes are fine with me. And I could have something with 2 batteries, with power, and allow me to do my cloudy stuff. I know squonking is for a long time it's been kind of held into the realms of high-end stuff or flavor chasing stuff. So you're put in an unregulated mod like a Vapiamo. Pardon. You're putting something like a 0.5 at the lowest build in it, and little 16mm. Did I do the review on the Desmo? Can't remember if I reviewed the Desmo, but I had a tiny little 16 or 14mm Atty, which was just the biggest pain in the arse to coil ever. It got me having to wear glasses. I swear to God. But no, so I knew that this was going to be the thing. Now, very early on in the year, I decided that I didn't really kind of like tanks that much, because there was a lot of tanks that, after the Atlantis, and we'll go into this again in a little while as well, and the Kanga tank, the world just went crazy. As you guys know, there was at least a new tank a month, if not a new tank every couple of weeks, and it just went bonkers this year. And for me, sure, the tank idea was easy, in as much as you could just put a bunch of juice in it and then vape it. But I liked a warm vape, I liked a cloudy vape, I liked all that sort of stuff. And so being able to use something like this made that possible, because I can use a dripper. I can use a dripper build on it with mega airflow on whatever tank that I'm whatever RTA I'm using. And so this changed my shit. This got me into knowing what the squonking could do, what I wanted it to do, that I could put 10ml of juice in there and I could poop it off, 2 batteries, cloud my face off, and have a wonderful time. And so that has got a very special place in my heart for this, for what it did, for my kind of realization that squonking was going to be something for me, and that's certainly continued. And you still see I've got juice in there. You see that I do still use these. I tell you, the unfortunate thing about reviewing, and this is like a real life problem, honest, or a first world problem, is the fact that you get a couple of really nice items, or you get some stuff that you really just fucking enjoy using, and because you want to try and keep up on the game with all the other stuff, it's difficult to use the stuff that you really like using, so when I'm pretty sure that when some of the bigger reviewers take a week or 2 off, they just go, no, fuck it, and they dig out stuff that's like 8 months old and go, I'm going to use this like fuck for the next week. But yeah, so yeah, it's a pain in the arse. So if you see my Instagram pictures and all that sort of stuff, you probably wouldn't have seen this in for a while, or the Evolver for that matter, or pretty much any of the ones I'm going to tell you right now. because it's, you know, it's I've had to use other stuff. Doesn't mean to say when I come home and I'm sitting in front of the computer busying away, I'm not using them, because a lot of times I really am. So yes, so that has been the bollocks. And yes, it's a simple box, but it's affordable. I mean, I can't remember what they are now, about 80 quid, something like that. It's a simple, just full mech. So, you know, it's awesome. So thanks very much. So thanks Eddie for this, and thanks Matt for this. Now then, what else have we got on the list? BCV. Now, BCV, Bay City Vapors, have been big for me this year. I have loved them. I have absolutely loved them. I've loved I've still got some of the tube mechs going on up there, and I have absolutely loved using them. As I was just mentioning, as you probably already know, that I do like my low builds and my climbs and all that sort of stuff. But there have been times this year where I've kind of got into a little bit more of a refined. Should we say? Can I say refined? Am I in the slightest have I done refinement? No, probably not. A little bit more gentlemanly, softer. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, my vaping style definitely has changes depending on what mood I'm in now, as it does with a lot of people. And so using something like the 26650 stainless BFM has been great. You know, I'll put a little flavour tank on there. I'll put a 0.7 build going on, and you know, I have a great time with that. But you know, that isn't designed for super low builds and all that sort of good stuff. So, you know, it's horses for courses, and that's exactly what it does. And they do it so well. I just love the way they're machined. In fact, I'm using the BCV Surf Rider top and bottom cap, or button and top cap rather, on my Evolver, just because I really like the button. I think it just feels fantastic. So they have been superb for me. However, the standout piece for me, just because of its ridiculousness and how gorgeous it looks as well, is the double stacked BFM. The 26650 double stacked motherfucker. This has just been brilliant. The guys at Corrosive Creations, I can't talk, I swear to God. The guys at Corrosive Creations did the patina on it for me, with my logo and the BCV logo on there, and I think it cost me like 40 quid, something like that. And I just think that is absolutely stunning. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece now. Plus the old big Buddha on the top looks the tits on it. Oh, there's still coils in it. Shall we have a little vape? Let's have a little vape, shall we? This has just been one of those mods that's not been overly useful, in as much as I haven't been able to take it out every day. And to be fair, even though the guys at CC Corrosive Creations do a fantastic kind of protection thing on here, it still scares me that I'm going to break it or fuck it up or do something dodgy to it somewhere along the line. No. Oh, angry. Now let's have a bit of Lushington on here. They're still fairly wet, but just in case. I can't really remember the last time I vaped this, but it was a couple of weeks ago at least. Right, let's have a blast on here, shall we? Fucking animal. Fantastic. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that set. It's just fantastic. It's fucking huge, and I guess if you took it out, it could be an offensive weapon, but we're now super vapey in here, so I'm probably going to have to open the window just a touch more. 2015 was also the year where I bought a new chair because it was less creaky than the old one. Yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? I really need a proper decent office chair. Anyway, yes, that double stacked 26650 is fucking huge. It is ridiculous. It's I just love it. I like big mods, I cannot lie. All you other mothers can do. So yeah, it's just done so many good things for me, and yeah, I love using it. Straight out the window ish. So that's that bad boy. Now I'm going to take the batteries out of there so I don't forget about them. Oh no, there we go. Good. Now that's that one. Now I am going to put a special mention in now for the Phantom. It's got the Lush on it at the moment, but from Wotofo, this Phantom. This has been... Wotofo have done some great stuff. They've done a couple of iffy bits, but they've done some great stuff this year. And this mod was a big surprise for me because, I mean, regardless of whether or not you like that Phantom for its kind of cheesy value or not, it's been a quality mod. Now I got the stainless because I didn't have a stainless. I didn't have a stainless 18650 mech that was going to match a lot of the stainless atomizers that I had, and so I got one of these instead of one of the. I was tempted to buy one of the copper ones or the black one with the copper internal as well, but I would just be greedy. This I've loved it. I have absolutely. I think it looks lovely. It works. You get so much with it. You get the hybrid top cap. You get a regular top cap. You get extra springs. You get bits and bobs, and it's just for the money, because I think it was about 30 quid, somewhere like that. That has been absolutely stunning for me, and I've put some super low builds on there, and it's worked flawlessly. It's done really well. So that gets a very special mention from me. Now there is one other. See, this is why I didn't do a top 5. I mean, I know I'm probably just mentioning 5, but that's not the point. The Limitless gets a special mention purely because I bought it at Vape Fest, and Tio made me this fantastic leather sleeve. Now I think I've shown you guys before. In fact, I know I've shown you guys before, but I'm going to show it again just because it's fucking gorgeous. Right, can you see this? Just this lovely leather sleeve on there, and it was an idea I had before. And he went, "Oh yeah, I'll make you one." And it's snug. That bastard ain't coming off very easily, but I think it's absolutely stunning. I mean, I had the bright yellow sleeve on it, and I was kind of looking into who would be able to make a sleeve with acrylic. You know, like you get your drip tips and all that sort of stuff. I thought that some acrylic kind of funky colours would be really cool, but it turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I expected to find someone to be able to make them. Probably because a lot of the drip tip maker people tend to use the blanks that you get for pens. Apparently that's a thing. So yeah, so it was difficult to be able to find someone that would be able to make those. But no, then this came along, and I've not taken it off since I've had it. I think it's absolutely stunning. It really is gorgeous. Now I know I've mentioned it actually, so I'll have to have a little look back on the videos and show you about that if I can remember. So that gets a special mention. Now, drink your poos. I've just realised I've got some lager down here from the Christmas Eve Ideal Home Show. I might have to get some of them with me in a bit. Right. What else have we got to play with then? Unregulated. I think that covers mechs then. That covers the mechs and what have really done it for me this year. There's been others. So don't swear at me for forgetting something. But those are the ones that kind of came to mind when I was writing my notes. Unregulated. Now, this is a funny old one. The reason it's a funny old one is because I'm a little bit biased. Well, I've got a beard hair, tash hair. It's gone. See? First world problems once again. Beards. The Titan. The Titan has been brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. Eric and Mast that make these do such a great job. Sure, it's simple, but it's top quality stuff. It's made cleanly. It does everything it says on the tin. The batteries are great, the buttons great, and you know, this was the colour. I was speaking to Eric and I said, have you done a yellow one with black hardware? And he got excited about that one, so I think that's now a thing. But yeah, it's just, I love using this. I can understand why people have Titans, and it's just because this has not missed a beat since I got mine, and I think it's marvellous. So that has been the tits. And as I say, it's not kind of groundbreaking in as much as it's a Hammond box that's made into a MOSFET parallel build, but it's a dual MOSFET, so you've got extra protection there, which is brilliant for your low builds. So your MOSFET isn't going to, your MOSFET, if you use a single MOSFET and you do low builds a lot, then what can happen is the MOSFET will get hot, and then when that gets hot, it kind of doesn't work as well, and shit goes all wrong. So it's just the attention to detail. It's the countersunk Veritube 510. It's just the tits. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So that's very, very high up for me. Now, this is where it gets a little bit picky or a little bit funky, because especially at the start of this year, I got into making a few of my own. Now, these weren't for sale, and these still aren't for sale. These are just a thing where I wanted to learn about making mods for two reasons. One, I couldn't afford to go out and buy lots and lots and lots of mods. And two, because I wanted to be able to know what I was talking about when it came to reviews. And I wanted to get a good idea of what was good and what was bad. Now, unfortunately, the majority of what I've made... not too clever, really. So you can understand how kind of effective and positive other people are about making stuff and how great they do things. But you can go back on my channel, and what I would say, I'll show you a couple of the ones that I've made in a second, if you're interested in that sort of thing. Not if you're, I'm going to show you anyway. You can forward wind past this bit. But the reason I'm going to show you these is because if, like many, you know, you can't afford to go out and buy stuff all the time, and that's, you know, that's the thing. That's where we're all at. But you kind of like the idea of something personal and something that has allowed you to be creative, or has given you just a solid vape or whatever else. Then learning about this stuff is super interesting if you like the sort of the geeky thing like I do. And it also helps you you can then fix things if your mod breaks a little bit, or you know, something goes a little bit wrong, or the 510 needs replacing. It gives you a little bit more confidence about being able to get stuck in there and having it. And for me, I meant that once I decided on doing it, I had to learn a bunch of skills. You know, I had to learn how to solder, which I'm still fairly shit at, to be fair. But yeah, and it gave me a chance to do all sorts of things. So I wanted a variety of mods that, as I mentioned at the start, you know, earlier in the year I couldn't afford to buy just a fuck ton of mods, so I went apart about making them. Now this was my first ever mod. This big bastard, I'm going to show you the internals on this, and it's horrific. But this was a box that I got in a local head shop. You know, it's called Head in the Clouds in Norwich. But it's a little shop, and I don't know whether it was joss sticks or cigarettes, or I think it was supposed to be a cigarette box of some kind. And you know, you stored them in there, and it had a couple of different compartments. And I thought that would be a pretty cool place to have a mod. And I quite like the idea of having a clasp on it rather than anything else. But look at that! Look how bad that is. That's not very clever at all. Wires for days. Oh well, there might be a bit of voltage drop in there, you know. And that kind of big old dollop of stuff in there, that's purely because that I thought that'll need insulating that well, because clearly wood carries because clearly wood carries electricity. So, but yes, but that was the first one that I did, and it was a killer. It was great fun, and I really enjoyed making it. And I vaped it, you know, I vaped it for a while, and I really, really enjoyed it. But the reason I'm showing you this and the others is, once again, if it's something that you kind of like the idea of, you can just be as creative as you like. It's fantastic. And my friend Rick from Modmaker, who I do the Ideal Home Show, Modmaker is a great site. It sells everything you need, and I think he still is offering kind of bundles, so you get to choose each individual part, and it kind of all comes together, and it gives you, like, did it give you drop down boxes? I can't remember, but you can basically choose how you want to make your mod, and then you just have to choose your wire on top of that, and you're laughing. But yeah, so, get involved and make it. And it doesn't make any fucking difference how tidy it is inside. If you like it and you enjoy it, then fill your fucking boots. So that was the first one that I made. Now, I can't remember which ones are which, and I'm going to hammer through these as quick as I can. But that was a parallel build. So then, obviously, I needed to have a series build, I needed something that was just going to be fucking angry. Pardon me. And that is what I did. And I don't know why it's not closing properly. But there we go. Is it that way around? No, it's definitely not that way around. So anyway, I'll just show you this. Pow! It's a Hammond B box. This was the only on-off switch that I had, and it went on, and it was just fucking great fun. So series for days. I tried to keep it tidy by basically just covering up the internals and cheating. But that has been an absolute beast for me. I have vaped the shit out of this when I was feeling confident enough to put a series build in. So that just tickled me something chronic. Once again, not perfect, not by any stretch. Couple more quickly. First time I did a that brass is fucked now. I need to get old clean. But first time I did a kind of a wooden thing. This was a wooden shelf, or it was a mahogany shelf, I think, that I just a big old bit, a lump of couple of bits of mahogany that I pulled together. I put them all in a block, stuck it all together, and away you go. Made the most horrific internals in the world with solid copper and some absolutely terrible soldering. But once again, that was something that I just enjoyed using, and when that was all shiny and everything, it looked kind of quite nice, for me. It's fucking huge, but it looked kind of nice. And then after that, there was the very, very nice man in the States, fuck me, whose name I've forgotten. No. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I will put a link down to your business underneath. Made me this box. Now, there was a box that he was making this box for another company that didn't last very long. Not because of the box, I may add. And I saw the box, really enjoyed it. Got in touch with the guy who does the 3D printing, and he made me this. And it's got a kind of a raised vaping biker thing on it, and it had an integral battery tray. And this is something that now I'm a little bit better at things. I am going to be ripping out those internals and doing it again, because it's a triple 18650, so it's a big one. But I used to really like using this, and I use this a lot. So yeah, that was another one. And then my last two that I'm going to show you, because I'm sure you're getting super bored now. But like I say, the reason I'm doing this is to show you that if it's the sort of thing that you fancy having a go to, then the sky's the limit. You can do whatever the fuck you like. So I've done a right there with the readout poking out and stuck out apparently. Is that one was just an 18650 parallel with paracord, and horrific soldering. And then on that one was look at that, look, I got it all engraved and stuff. In fact, I was going to be making a short production run of them, because I've got my shit together on this. And so I got a few boxes all engraved up, ready to make a few kind of mods for friends and things, and then never got round to it. In fact, the lids are still with the engravers, and that was months ago, so I feel bad about that. But yeah, that got used a lot, and that's got an OKR T20 chip in there, so big work coming from that one. Anyway, those are the ones that I wanted to show you, purely because I wanted to show you how you could, if you if you like the idea of it, if you want a different mod, then there's no point in kind of really bleating on about the fact that, you know, you can't get anyone to make you one or whatever else. Have a blast yourself, have a go. It's great fun. It's a hoot. And you can get some really cool stuff at the end of it if you so choose. And this is the thing about vaping, you know, you can kind of, the more you put in, the more you get out. Happy days. Right, so I've stopped boring you about my shit now, so let's talk about other stuff. Do you know what? For some reason, I haven't got, I thought I put regulated. Oh, I have put regulated. Here we go. Regulated mods. There's been some good ones this year, hasn't there? I am going to say Darwin Mods, Squonk 2. This has been a recent one for me. I have loved it. I've loved using it. I love vaping on it. Once again, it's got the SX350 chip in it, which means that there's plenty of power there. I think it goes up to 60 watts, is it? Which has been really good. I've really enjoyed using this. So this has been a real positive, but a recent one. For me. Now, what else has been in there? Rather cheekily, I did make, I'm going to just mention one more again. I made an SX350J box. This is a second one that I made. The original one, I think I did a video for, because it was out of a kind of a battery charger holder thing from Fastech, and it almost had like a flasky vibe going through it. But so I originally put this board in there, but then took it out because the battery thing that I used was shit. So stuck it in one of these boxes from Modmaker, and I've loved it. Do you know what? I royally fucked up making the holes, and I thought, right, well, I'm gonna do it all again properly. I've even got the stuff right down here to do it again, but properly, and never got round to it. So the board is still held in with Muji cotton, and it's just been a mod that I've carried with me so many places and taken in so many places because I love the SX350J chip. It's been awesome. So the 350J has rocked it for me in dual battery. Now, what else is going on? The TNT80. Now, some of you may remember this, you may not remember this. I don't know how much you watch my videos or how stalkery you are. But yeah, the TNT80. Now, here's the thing. That was it, right there. See that? Now, this was a small-ish 26650. And if I put a 26650 battery in here, you can get to see kind of how much bigger than the 26650 it is. Smallish 80 watt mod, which has got a brilliant build quality to it. Their screen was nice and bright. It did what it said on the tin, and this was my beta mod for a long time. You know, this would sit on my desk and it would be the one that I'd fire. Pardon me, I'm very windy today. I would fire coils with, that I would just, you know, take downstairs with a tank on it, or with an RDA on it, and sit and just drip, because it was easy, you know. It would sit on the table because of the footprint on that bad boy. It would sit on the table and it wouldn't fall over easily. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't something that you would think would die horribly, and you didn't really care if it did. And so, you know, the top of it has been scratched where I've put different RDAs on it. The paint has got a few chips and dings on it, but really nothing much compared to how I've used it. And this has been from Encom. This has been just a fucking awesome mod. This is one of those ones that's had, I haven't seen any other reviews on it. I haven't seen anybody else talking about it, and I've just loved it. I've absolutely loved it. Listen to that button. Clicky. All the buttons clicky as fuck. Simple and effective and chunky. And it's, once you get your battery in here especially, it's not a light mod. It's not a light mod. And so it just feels like you've got more quality than than you would expect, I guess. But so this has been a really standout mod for me this year. This has been working really, really well. So that's definitely, if you see one kicking around or up for sale second hand, or even if you're feeling a bit flush and you can see it in a shop in the January sales, there's a lot worse you can get than this. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I am saying it's fucking good. So that's that. Now, the bastard about these this type of kind of roundup is that everything that I've used, the stuff that I've used over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, seems to, you kind of overtake stuff that you used in the 8 months previous. Now, there is quite a few bits and bobs that I've given away. Now, one of the things that I did this year was I changed my old Sigeli 100 watt, my original Sigeli 100 watt, because it was the first one with the pin that would just come out and you'd lose and then swear at the world. I changed it for a Fat Daddy 510, and what a twat of a job that was. But it just kept going on and on and on. Now, obviously, I got the Sigeli 150 and what have you after that, and I did a review on there. It was all fine and dandy. But I preferred the original Sigeli, and I've put stickers on it, I've got painting on it, I've got stuff on it, and whilst I haven't used it for a long time, it was just a go-to workhorse for a long, long time at the start of this year, for the first 3 or 4 months at least. Now, I've not included it in my favourites of 2015 because I think it came out at the tail end of 2014. So, and I've not included the Plus or the 150 because that was the one that did it for me. That 100 watt, that kind of established Sigeli as a brand for me, and just did a fucking good job. And like I say, I wasn't quite so happy with the 150. But I think that is it. I did get a pretty nice little wooden box, little 50 watt wooden box from someone in China at this early part of the year, which was rather pleasant, and it was a decent little mod. But that's about it as far as the kind of mass produced available stuff goes. I'm really on the train again, aren't I? Have I got a problem? Is there a thing? Like you get certain phobias or something like that. Is there a thing? Is it? I don't know. Is it like Tourette's, but maybe? I don't know. Who knows? So, what else have we got? With obviously, there's a special mention to the RX 200, just because I still think that is a kick-ass mod. It's doing its business so well. And I'm loving using it, still loving the battery life, still loving the mods, still loving everything it does. And we're already 2 updates in from Wismec/Joytech, which I think is spectacular. I think that's really, really good. And it's Mac friendly. So that makes me so happy. So that, super happy with that. The Rulo DNA 200 obviously is a cracking board, and when I was saying about the SX350, yes, the board has been absolutely superb. I've loved using it, and this is the one in my mind that changed the game. The DNA just took that and went running a little bit further with it, with the whole eScribe business and everything else. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Yeehee do with the V2 of the board. Rick from Modmaker mentioned the V2 and some of the aspects on the V2 in one of the Ideal Home shows a few episodes ago, and it does look pretty exciting, so I'm really looking forward to getting one of those in my hands and checking that bad boy out. So that's all the mods. Now, where are we at so far? I bet we're fuck me with 35 minutes. Right, let's have a little go, because I imagine that's forgotten the first bit where I forgot to get everything down. Tanks. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I didn't really review that many tanks this year. And it's because at the early part of this year, I'd done the... What had I done? I'd already had the Atlantis, which is kind of the first sub-ohm tank that made people lose their onions. After that, what did I go for? I can't remember. I know I reviewed the Arctic. I reviewed I just reviewed a few. I don't know. And it just didn't do it for me, you know. Having the replaceable coils, and then I got to, was it the Zephyrus? Might have been the Zephyrus, possibly, which was rebuildable, and I kind of liked that, and that was all right. And I liked the other stuff as well, but I just got bored of them. I got bored of the unreliability when it came to the coils that you buy for however much for a pack of 5, and some would be better than others. And at one point, even during this year, I had one coil, it was an Atlantis coil, and it what did it do? It didn't burn out as such, but the cotton around it went super brittle, almost like the ceramic stuff, and it started flaking off. And when I was taking a draw in, I had bits of hard cotton kind of hit my mouth, and that just really put me off. It really upset my day a little bit, and it put me off using that kind of thing. And it's funny how just one sort of bad experience does that. But yeah, so that put me off tanks for a bit. Now I have got a few that I do want to mention because they kind of got me back into things to some degree, which I really enjoyed. Now the first one that I want to give special props to, or a manufacturer as well, to be honest with you, is OBS. Now this was the first OBS tank that I got, that they sent me free for review, but it was the TVCT with a little alien head thingy doobie on there, now this was actually a really good, pardon me, it was a really good tank. I really enjoyed it. It made me happy using it. It was easy to use. It was the pre-built coils that went in there were I never had any problems with them, and yeah, it was a very pleasant vape, and to some degree I'll still use it from time to time now. But what else? The Silo Beast. Now the Silo Beast was that bad boy. Now is that with the short tank on it? That might be with the shorty tank on it. But this was the tits. It really was awesome. This was something that kind of excited me. I believe this was the first one that I'd used that had a top fill. Now what that top fill was a bit of a pain in the ass, because you had to get thick drippers down the sides of that kind of metal piece on the top, which seemed ridiculously large. Whilst they did have a cock up with the seal on the top, so it was kind of too intruding, so you had to cut a bit out or wait for them to give you a new one. This was a great tank. This was a great tank, and it was a very enjoyable one to use as well. So that one for me did very good things. I enjoyed that a lot. What else have we got? The Goblin Mini I mentioned a little while ago. That the Goblin Mini is something that I've found again and got back into, and I really have. Still not the biggest airflow, and still with that airflow down the bottom. I just wish they'd done a V2 of this that covered the bottom, so you didn't get condensation and juice all over the top of your 510. That would have just made me super happy, because sometimes you can take it off your mod and go, ooh, don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I've hardly used it on this so far, and let's have a little look. I'd cleaned this cool fire up earlier in the day, and I put this on, and can you see how kind of wet we are all around there? Kinda. Yeah. It just doesn't instill me with confidence on using this on some of the tester units that I go through, purely because there seems to be an awful lot of liquid that could potentially go down a 510. Now, if you've got a Fat Daddy or a Very Tube or something like that, obviously you've got a certain level of protection, but something like this, not so much. So that worries me. But having said that, it's still a great little tank. Once you get your wick insussed You get the right coils in there. I mean, at the minute, I've got a 0.75 build in there. A 0.75. What the fuck? And I'm vaping it at, and this just, it upsets me. 32.5 watts. But it's been super enjoyable. It really has. I've kind of come home after vaping on this at 32 watts all day. I've come home and then just clouded my face off just to make myself feel better. but no, that's been a really, really enjoyable tank, and I've put this on a bunch of stuff over the recent past, and I just really enjoyed using it. Even on, tell you what, I thought it looked cool on, and this is another one with a 5-turn, which worried me with it, was the old B tilt by Jack Vapor. I thought that looked... I know a lot of you don't like the tilt. I know, stop crying. But I thought that looked just sleek and sexy and cool and funky. But I'm easily led like that. Easily led. All the gear, no idea. But no, it's I've enjoyed using it, and so that one has got a special mention, and I've had that for quite some time now. What else? Yeah, absolutely. And if they did this again, if they did a V2 of this Goblin Mini, keep it looking the same. I know a lot of people don't like the drip tip, but I kind of do. So, but top fill, having a bottom fill screw, just if you've got clumsy fat fingers like I have, nightmare. Yeah, how many times do you reckon I've been on the floor, my hands and knees scrabbling around in a deep shag, trying to find the tiny little screw. A lot, I'll tell you that. But one of the good things about it, the machine hole that the screw goes in is nice and snug, so the little O-ring that goes around the screw doesn't out, which it has done on quite a few other tanks that I've used, K-funds included. Anyway, I told you it's going to be a long one, didn't I? Hey? Are you sticking with me? Are you still with it? Are you still with me? Now, do I have a Diet Coke or do I have a beer? Fuck it, I'll have a beer. Cheap French beer. Is this French? Argus. Where do you go over Christmas? Argus. All right, fair enough. Right, cheers to you. It's Christmas. I can have a beer when I'm vaping. Now then, what else? Couple of valid mentions. Well, you saw me earlier on vape from the Cryos tank, which I mentioned OBS a little while ago. The Cryos, I fucking love. I think it's an absolutely spectacular tank. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it has top fill. The top fill on it, you just go lift it up, fill it, and there you go, done. You have got the juice control. The airflow is pretty sweet on it. You can get decent cloud out of it. Depending on your core, you can get a decent little bit of power going through it as well. And I fucking loved that. Now, two other tanks that I wanted to mention are the Monster V3, because when I reviewed this, I highlighted that it had problems, that the airflow was kind of janky, that, I mean, there's nothing in there. And you can still hear that it sounds like there's juice in it. Okay, it's got that kind of... and that really put me off. But I think it looked also... Oh, and the bottom fill, because essentially these used to be K-funds when these guys were making 528 customs. You used to just drill out K-funds. Pardon me, windy pops. Drill out K-funds for more airflow and all that sort of stuff. But that actually... Tan from Vapor Z sent me this, and I use this a lot. And it's one of these things that is kind of almost like a guilty pleasure, in as much as I shouldn't like it, and I know the things are wrong with it, okay, but I still enjoy using it. go figure. And I think it looks the tits. It's just super clean. And the fact it's got a Thundercats kind of logo on there as well made me happy. So that's been awesome. And another one that wouldn't make my top 5 if I was kind of just throwing a top 5 out there, but one that I think has really changed up the game a little bit, is this big bad boy from Cloud Chaser Inc. Now, this is the Trifecta tank. I think, did it get changed to something else, or is this the name after it got changed? Whatever it is. This big bastard cloud chasing tank from the CCI people. Now, this was just ridiculous. It was so good you could put big wattage through it, and it was happy, and it would lap it up. And the reason being, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me show you, just in case you haven't seen my review. And I want to see more of this shit this year. Can you see the size of the hole where that coil is? That is fucking huge. That is like a 5mm coil, I think. So there is air for days. And so this is one of the few tanks where the air hole that was sort of under at the side. Oh, you're not in focus. There you go. The airflow that was coming in the sides was actually relevant. You know, I mean, it's always relevant to the top, but it kind of made more sense because you had such a huge amount of play in that top area and such a huge amount available to you that it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I can't remember, but I've got a feeling I took this up to like kind of 100 watts or something like that, and it was still vaping. But there's RDAs with less air than this, and it was just phenomenal. It won a bunch of awards and all that sort of stuff for the design, and quite rightly so. This again was top fill. A lot of people didn't realise that you had to screw the top cap. It had a left hand screw or a back to front thread on it, but this was top fill as well. And I really did enjoy using it. The other thing about this, and the reason I didn't make more of a thing of it, was because I bought this from Cloud Chasers Inc. and it wasn't a cheap tank. But I just bought it as is, you know, as came in the box, and I think it had 2 coils with it when it came. One Canthal on one, and one NI200, and that kind of pissed me off a little bit because it needed to have the rebuildable deck with it. If this had the rebuildable deck, I'd have raved about this a lot more. But you had to spend extra for the rebuildable deck, or extra for coils and stuff. And the bastard, if you're reviewing something, is you're going to use it for a week or 2 or more up front, and then you come around to it and you haven't got any coils left. So you're kind of a bit screwed. To start with, whilst those coils were getting saturated and whilst everything was bedding in, for the first day it leaked like a motherfucker, but then very quickly kind of pulled its shit together and was then just a really good vape. But yeah, I mean, it was a strong cloudy tank, not one for the flavour chasers, but for clouds. That was the tits. And just having that rebuildable deck with it would have made a massive difference to me personally. But for what they did with this, great things happened. So that was fantastic. Now that's the tanks. Whoo! There we go then. Oh, big one next. The RDA. Now that's a big one. Now, as I said before, it's very difficult. Once you go through a bunch of RDAs, I could say the last few that I reviewed have all been pretty damn special, and things like the Alliance V2 for the amount of extras you get with it, or all the twisted messes, because the first one with the cut, or the first really well known one with the big holes in the posts and all this sort of stuff, that I had anyway. But I'm not going to use those ones. What I'm going to say is the first one that really knocked my spots off this year was the Aeolus V1. Now the V2, huge car crash of an RDA in my opinion, but the V1 was spectacular. It really was absolutely stunning. I'm so gutted I didn't get a black one. And I'm also pretty gutted that I sold on my V1 because I loved it. I loved it so much. I know I went to a nice home, and the guy that, pardon me, has it now, also loves it and looks after it and polishes it and keeps it very tidy. So that makes me slightly happier. But yeah, it was that for me was a brilliant tank. It had the top down airflow. It was one of the first few to, if not the first to come out with that style of airflow, and it just worked. And it was so smooth. It was such a smooth vape. I loved it. So yeah, so that was, in fact I probably will buy one again at some point in time. But yeah, I think they're fabulous. I really do. Now, what else have we got? Clearly, I'm not even going to fanny around trying to build it up on this one. The velocity. The velocity has been, wow. What's the velocity done this year? What hasn't the velocity done this year? It's not only has it been a spectacular tank in its own spectacular RDA in its own right, but also it's spawned so much, which has made vaping better. Well, unfortunately, my O-rings are shagged because I've used it so much. However, Dino is going to be sending me a bunch more. But yeah, it's what can I say? It's something that has been in itself, the airflow options and the way you could vape it was just huge with the variations you could have with the product. The two posts, that particular design has just changed all kinds of shit, because now if it's good, generally it's got a two-post design in it, you know, and that's down very much to what what Cisco and Dino did for the velocity. And yeah, unfortunately my O-rings have now finally given up the ghost, so yeah, I'm not going to vape it today, but that has been absolutely superb. I have used that day in, day out, certainly more often than not when it comes to daily vaping, and I've just loved it. And I still love it, and I still love the build quality. Although they don't do real kind of V1, V2, V3s, the most recent one had a couple of improvements, and the one after that has even more, which I just think is superb. So I'm going to have to be buying one of the newer ones. But those guys have just got it sorted out. It's just awesome. If you haven't got one yet, if you've not tried one, try one. They're brilliant. What else? Now, another older one that I did like, but I don't think I fully appreciated it back when I reviewed it. And that is the CCI Archon. And the reason I really don't think I appreciated it was because, and I can't remember if you know, it hadn't developed into this at that point in time. But essentially what CCI are doing with that is making it a modular RDA. So if you want a different top cap, you can just change the top cap out and have different airflow, which is fine. I mean, Tugboat have done that with slam caps and comp caps and everything else. But, you know, this is slightly different. But at the same time, you can change the deck, or you can change the pins, or you can change, if you've got a 3-post and you want a 4-post, then you can change it to do that. And so rather than just selling you a new RDA every time, what they've done is they've kind of pushed it so you can just change up the base of what you've already got, and then before you know it, you'll spend very little money and have the equivalent of kind of 4 or 5 RDAs. Now that is something that I think is superb, because it's putting the consumer first, and in that respect I think they did a fantastic job there. So you know, it was a pretty decent tank for why am I calling things tanks? It was a pretty decent RDA for what it did as well. It was unfortunate. I think when it came to me, it's really badly packaged. But yeah, it was just one of those things. Another one that I want to mention is the Buddha. This big bastard. This Buddha V2. It was just a 26650 with more airflow than you can shake a stick at. That huge post holes that gave great flavour as well. I mean, it's bonkers. It's a bonkers RDA. and it is just absolutely superb. Now they did a really fucking good job with the I've just cleaned it actually, the Buddha Mini, which is the 23mm version of it. And once again, I mean, they've got basically the same kind of tiny little build deck, but with hoof and grate post holes, as was in the big bad boy. It's like they just did exactly the same thing, but smaller, and it works. I think the flavour's better in the bigger one. Not surprisingly, because I mean it's a lot bigger, but and everything you put in it is the same. But from an airflow, from a cloud point of view, from everything else, these guys have kind of rocked it this year as well. So that was a massive one for me. Is there anything else? Bullet, last one, honourable mention, is it, for a Bullet? The Bullet RDA and then the Bullet Mini RDA. Yeah, I've put that. Oh, here we go. I haven't got the Bullet, the main size Bullet, although I did have a jolly good time at a cloud competition with that. I've just washed it, so it's not together. But the Bullet Mini RDA, once again, when that came out, a fuck ton of spares and a fuck ton of variation. You know what you could do with it, and the different airflow and everything else, just spectacular. The only slight issue was a bit of a pain in the ass on the O-rings. But other than that, knocked it out of the park. Job's a good one. Now, you'll be pleased to know we're just about at the end of hardware now. Why don't you do an hour-long vlog, Dean? That would be way forward. Let me rattle through these. So, Juice. I've really enjoyed Epicloud. That was superb. Grim Greens line, I thought that was fantastic. Particularly the Donut Pounder, the Glacier Banana, and the Strawberry Circus. I have really enjoyed Wick Liquor. That has been later part of the year, but the fact that these English guys are coming out with such a strong juice, and the taste brilliant, it's so sweet, it's brilliant for cloud chasing. Fucking aces. And of course there's Stash. Now I've been with Stash for quite some time now. It's glorious. Just everything is glorious. I still use Lushington for the majority of my RDA reviews and tank reviews, because I basically could drink Lushington. Well, I think Lushington is part of my blood now. Currently on my Dark Star as well. I think that's fantastic. But, you know, there's been a whole bunch of... There's nothing in the line I don't like. Absolutely. And it's the only juice line of that kind of size that I enjoy every single little thing in. And that's, you know, that's the way it is. So, that's that. Other random stuff. We've got the... that's the juice done out of the way, by the way. Other randoms I just wanted to discuss. The T18 Endura, best starter kit I have used. Once again, I've not done a review. That's going to be coming up this week. But for a starter, I think this is absolutely superb. The taste on that is redonkulous. So that is superb. Another good mention is Coilmaster. I think Coilmaster have done fantastic things this year. I think they've brought us... Granted, it's not necessarily always been the most original, but it has been the nicest, easiest to get kind of affair with vapors in mind. You know, the V2 coil kit was spectacular, and they listened to people after the V1. The 521 tab, once again, there's a V2 because they listened to feedback on the V1 and have improved it and made it better. And it's all affordable stuff, you know, and so, you know, big props go to those guys. Beadle-on spool tamers. If you haven't got these yet, they're not a vaping product. You get them from kind of like haberdashers and sewing shops and things, but they're just the way forward for looking after your spools of wire, because you put your wire on, you pull it away, and everyone's a winner, and it doesn't go, because that's the worst sound in the world. Just because you've moved a spool. What else? Kidney Puncher NI80. Was that NI80 I just showed you then? Yes, it was. This getting into NI80 in the last few months I've loved it. I've loved using NI80. I loved using things like Anarchist wire and that sort of stuff previously, but it's fucking expensive. The NI80 was, it's not quite as good as the Anarchist, I don't think, but it's I've enjoyed using it more than I've enjoyed using Canthal for the majority of things. What else? And so thank you very much to Kidney Puncher for sending me a whole bunch of those and introducing me to a new world. Now, big shout out to the Little Blue Screwdriver, because we find out this year the Little Blue Screwdriver has evolved. So now we've got the hex-ended Little Blue Screwdriver, and also, and I don't know if this is a familial thing, I don't know if this is something that the Little Blue Screwdriver has had issues with. I don't even know if they're still around. The Little Blue Screwdriver did comment on one of my videos. I think it was the support, because I got awfully excited about the hex-headed end rather than the regular. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the new one. This is kind of like the RoboCop to the Little Blue Screwdriver. I do hope they're related, but otherwise this may have eaten these. So we'll have to see. Oh dear. Right. So what else have we got? Reviewers and shit. Todd, because hashtag Todd, and that's or it should be hashtag because Todd, I suppose. Just because he is somebody that I'll mention in a group in a second, but a sterling guy, lovely guy. I love watching his reviews. I love watching him get all flustered. I love watching him try to coil. I love the fact that he's such a strong member of the UK vaping community, in as much as what he does for vaping and has been doing for vaping for a long time, which is just bring out good quality, solid, honest, factual reviews, and doing what he does and doing it really well. So that's always a big one. Now, I'm not going to gush about him too much, but what else have we got? I've been watching. I mean, there's the regulars like Grim and Suck My Mod and all that sort of malarkey, and they're all fabulous, and I've watched those. They're on my subscription list. Pardon me, really windy. That's this stuff, isn't it? 2.6% volume. Oh, easy, tiger. Contains barley and gluten. Wow, fuck me. You'd think there'd probably be alcohol in there as well somewhere, but there we go. So what else have we got now? Funniest show of the year, I think, has been or funniest kind of channel of the year, if you like, has been So Much Vape. If you haven't seen these guys, I've talked about them a few times already. Amazingly funny guys, and just wait to the end of each of their, especially their vlogs, and there's kind of like a bits that weren't included section, and they make me die. So funny. Mr. Bisado's got to have a mention. Obviously he couldn't give two shits because why would he care what I say, but has done amazing things for vaping this year. With the intricacies and the videos that he's done with things like the SX350J and more recently the DNA 200, it's just been one of those. He's been one of those reviewers that everybody points to and goes, you know what, we can't do any better. So go and see his. So that's fantastic. Vaping Bogan, fucking love you. Awesome, it's just awesome. If you don't like swearing, then don't watch Bogan, but he's awesome. What else have we got? The Plumes of Hazard. Obviously, Monday nights would not be complete without the Plumes of Hazard, or in my case, Tuesday mornings, because that's when I watch it, because it's on like 2 or 3 a.m. Even though I've been on the show with the guys, I can't remember. It's fantastic. A great show. They've done 100 and something shows, or 100 shows straight, and then they've taken 1 week off, and I think they've had to miss one this week, but I'm sure it's just going to be a full beans run from now on again. Just ridiculous, and it's after us guys trying to do it with the Ideal Home Show and trying to get in to make sure that every single Thursday we can pull four guys together to do a broadcast. It's so hard. It's so hard. But yeah, so those guys all rock, and they're all really super sweet guys as well. So that's fantastic. The TRQ this year, the reviewers queue, that was brilliant. Unfortunately, that's not happening these days at the moment. But that was a fantastic way of meeting your favourite reviewers. So go back on that channel and check that out if you haven't done. You may find a reviewer or two you didn't know existed and that you want to see more of. Obviously, I'm going to say it because why not? The Ideal Home Show, because I'm in it and it's awesome. No, because we're trying to do something good in the UK, and the other guys are all rocking. They're superb at everything, and yeah, I love them to pieces. And clearly, I'll watch it because otherwise, I'd have my eyes closed when I'm talking to the camera. Vape Expos. This year we're all great for the different reasons. A few of them had their own issues for all different reasons, but I can't be asked in getting into it now. I've written it down. Vaping in 2016. I'm not even going to get into that either. I'm going to be finishing off now. Let's go with the personal stuff. Oh, my thoughts on vaping. Drama has been a bummer this year. It seems that you know, and there's been a lot of drama with people that, granted, will have probably more subs than me, but that still aren't superstars in the world of vaping, and a lot of infighting. You know, a lot of just having a go at people and calling people names and I don't get it. I don't get why. I just don't understand why. There's no purpose to it. We're not 4-year-olds anymore. And, you know, it just calm the fuck down. Get on with vaping. Stop worrying about what other people are doing and just do your thing. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. For me personally, illness has been a bit of a bastard for regularity. As you may or may not know, I've got ankylosing spondylitis and fibromyalgia, as well as a slipped disc in my spine and one or two other things just for shits and giggles. So it's been a bit of a challenge. Whilst it meant that when I was off working, the vaping channel gave me a great ability to focus on something and help no end, because I had plenty of time where I couldn't really move, I couldn't walk, or I couldn't do whatever else. Trying to get in some of the regularity, especially recently, has been a bit challenging. I've had quite a few hospital visits, and you know, various points where even just trying to get upstairs has been particularly difficult. So yeah, so apologies for the lack of regularity, but the majority of that has been caused by, you know, things beyond my control. So thank you for sticking with me on that. It's been a sucky year. It's been the worst year for health ever. But it has, hopefully, we've turned the corner, and we're starting to get more manageable again, thanks to copious amounts of medications. Vaping has, what have I got here? Advocacy nightmares. Yes, just nightmarish, sorry. Advocacy is so disorganised in the UK. It really is. And, you know, I think I get some grief now and then for not talking about it and all that, and it's just super hard, you know, because my personal feeling is that if you are a vaping advocate, you do not try and put, when you know it's not going to happen, you do not try and put some average vapors into a political party. You do not release a newsletter once every few months with what's going on. You do not kind of not really do anything. That's what we need to do. And it's my little rant, and then I'll get out of the way. What we need to do, I firmly believe, is change public perception. Get the public on side, because government couldn't give two shits about 1/15th or 1/100th of a population that vapes. Couldn't give a fuck. So us saying, oh well, you know, you got to listen. You know, we won't vote for you. No, I don't think that's going to cut it. I don't think that's going to cut it at all. What we need to do is we need to have our positive experiences with vaping. We need to branch out and tell other people. We need to convert other people to vaping, because get people aware of how good it is. Get people aware of whilst it's not risk free, it's harm reduction. So you are making yourselves a lot, or giving yourself a lot better of a chance of a longer, more pleasurable life, if you like, by vaping rather than you are smoking. Sure, if you just quit everything altogether, then fill your boots. But if you're like me and you didn't want to stop smoking, then vaping is a great way of helping. And what we need to do as a community is we all need to try and convince a few more people to get vaping. Where you're working, where you're hanging out, when you go to the pub on a Saturday night, speak to a few people, let them know about it. Don't be a cunt and just blow clouds in people's faces. Just push it to convert that. And these vaping groups, I think they should be doing that. They should be working on producing adverts, producing things in the media that let people know the positives of vaping, about why it's a good thing, why we're fighting for it. Because you get a much larger amount, you will get a much larger amount of the non-vaping population on your side, and that is how you turn the tide. That is how you push things forward and make people in power listen. When you've got a large portion of the population of the people you govern saying, no, we're not going to, because we know that you're putting money first, or whatever reason, we're not voting for you. Fuck you. Make that happen, because at the minute you can use writetothem.com, and there's another one that someone else has got going on, but writetothem.com gives you access to all of your local MPs, MEPs and all that malarkey. And you can ask people, get their opinions, get that, and that's a valid thing to do for sure. But at the same time, let's focus our energy on getting the positive out there in the big wide world, because by doing that, that's how we're going to have a chance of saving vaping, in my opinion. That was a bit much, wasn't it? Right. Vaping's brought me in contact with some amazing people this year. From those in the public eye, with regards to people like the Plumes, people like Todd, people like Damien, people like, all manner of people. All manner of people. It's been phenomenal, with some amazing mod manufacturers, some amazing companies, some fantastic shops, but more importantly than any of that, it's brought me into contact with some really fucking sterling stand-up people. I've met some such brilliant people, that it's been glorious, and as I mentioned earlier on, when I was a bit poorly, it was fantastic to be able to have that kind of way of making sort of mates and stuff without even doing it. I mean, special mentions, can I do special mentions, because I'm bound to forget people and they'll get all pissy, but people like John and the Worldwide Vapors people, great little show going on there, really fucking nice people, and I just oh god, I'm gonna miss people, aren't I? I'm not gonna say anymore. And I'm sorry if I've not mentioned you, because I will forget people, and it'll be like a fucking Oscars acceptance speech, and it'll go on forever. Because this video hasn't gone on forever as it is. So, what's coming up in 2016 on the Vaping Biker channel? Well, hopefully you've been enjoying the new logo and the intro music and all that. I still plan on changing up that intro music now and then to give local, or not local, but new bands or unsigned bands a way of kind of showcasing something that they do. And hopefully that'll just drive a little bit more traffic to their websites or whatever, in order to just try and give you guys a little bit more new music to listen to. I've not vaped anywhere near enough, by the way. Will there be more hats? I don't know. I didn't put this on my notes. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Do I have hair? Do I do the hair thing? Or do I just give up the ghost and go, do you know what, Dean, you're old. You look shit with hair. Sort it out. That could go either way, huh? So yeah, it's either going to be all off, it's going to be short and kind of where it was a few months ago, or I'm going to keep growing it longer, so I don't know what happens to it. But yeah, don't know. Let me know if you think I look like a cunt with long hair. Excuse me. Learner videos with the movement of the T18. I think there's going to be more good quality learner products coming out. I've still obviously got the Fumi Challenge video that I've got to do, and I'm hopefully going to do this week. It's been too long that I've been trying to do that, but that's going to come out this week. But I want to concentrate a little bit on some of the learner new start kind of gear if decent stuff comes out, you know, because at the minute that Endura has knocked my spots off with how much quality it offers, and what a great vaping experience it is for someone that smokes, or even someone that likes a mouth to lung, you know. I think it's great. So yeah, more learner videos going on there. What I'm going to do is a kind of an intermediate video as well, is do a coil building one, or a series of coil building ones. Now, this is just because I've grown a little tired of people constantly saying, you know, just what resistance is the coil to make it that cloudy or whatever else, because a 0.2 coil can be made with a whole bunch of different wire, with a whole bunch of different amount of wraps, and you know, if you get 0.2 with 28 gauge, it's massively different to a 0.2 with 20 gauge anarchist, for instance, you know. So there needs to be something sort of that's going to come out and show the differences, and that's something that I want to do pretty soon. I'd like to be able to say I'm going to do that this week, but we'll see. But yeah, so I'm really going to try and focus on that. Now, I'm not an amazing coil builder. I know what I like, and I like what I know, so it might be an opportunity if I go into making some of the funkier coils as well, that we all get to have a little bit of a play together, if you like. Cheeky bastard. So yeah, so that's going to happen. The faith for animals in truth, in trouble, there's hope. That's what that stands for, faith. They're the people who I've done my raffle for, that happened just before Christmas, that I'm pulling out at the end of the week. And so if you've not got your donation in on that yet, or included your or got into the raffle, if you like, then I'll put the link down for that video underneath this one again. Give it a go. They're such a brilliant charity. They are definitely worth supporting of us all. And finally, and this is final, only fucking an hour and a half into things, thanks to all of the subs. Thanks to every single one of you that's taken the time to watch a video. Thank you to every single one of you that's taken the time to drop me a message or an email or whatever else. Even the grumpy, who I suspect was slightly drunk chap the other night, saying I owed my subs more because I don't answer all of them. I try to get around to you as quickly as I can, but you know, I'm knocking on the door, I think, of about 5,500 now, and I don't know how the big guys manage it, because I get a lot of information coming from you guys. I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages on Facebook, and obviously there's the comments on YouTube as well, and I do try and keep up with them as much as I can. So even if I haven't had the chance to reply, I have read 99.9% of what you said, and so thank you very much for all of that. Thank you for the it's been a couple of poor attempts at trolling, but thank you for watching and sticking with me and contacting me. And also there's been a lot of very nice things said as well. So in the new year, I think I'm going to start giving some shout outs. I think we're at a stage now where I can do one or two shout outs in a vlog, just to say to mention something that one or two of you kind people have contacted me saying. What else? Thank you for the manufacturers that have supported me, and shops, especially from being early half of the year. First half of the year was kind of under the 500 subs mark, and then we've just sort of pushed on, and it's gained just ridiculous traction. And so thank you to every single one of you there, and thank you for the shops that believed in me. It's hopefully that those guys had some benefit, as long as I gave a positive review, I suppose. But thanks for the understanding when I've given a not so positive review as well. I haven't had anybody come at me saying that that I'm a wanker or anything because I've given their product or their product they're supplied a shitty review. But because at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's why you have reviews. And so thank you for all of those guys. And finally, I do want to give a special mention to Todd again, purely because for months now he's been such a fantastic bloke that's answered questions that that I've had when I haven't really known what I'm supposed to do with something, either from a computery standpoint or from just general advice. And he's just a sterling man. Meeting him in flesh, whilst we'll Google Hangout quite a lot and we'll chat quite a lot via Facebook and have done for a long time. Meeting him at Vape Fest in the flesh and getting a hangout with him there was a particular high point of the year for me. Now we've got the Plumes. The Plumes, once again, amazing guys. I've been speaking to those guys now since around about the middle of the year, and just stunningly sweet, nice, lovely guys. Just really, really super, and have once again they've been very kind on offering advice when it's been needed. But generally are just pretty cool for just chatting to and talking shit to as well. So, really, really good guys. So thank you very much for you two groups of very kind gentlemen. And the last lot I'm going to say thank you to are the miserable bunch of knobbers that I do a show with on a Thursday night. To Rick, to Craig, and to John, thank you very much for putting up with me. I generally need Valium after dealing with you, but it's thank you for being my colleagues on the show. So that's all of that little gush fest out of the way. So that's it. Finally, we've come to an end. Longest video ever. I think my Wick video may beat it slightly, but that's about it. So thanks very much for watching. This has been Dean the Vaping Biker. This has been a long fucking video. That's what this has been. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure for this new year and for every fabulous day of 2016, you have it larger!
I'm fading, it's come to an end. I feel an obligation to start again.